assuming it's not. Is it working? Is it actually working? I think it might be working. Okay. All right. Cool. Whoa. I wasn't sure if this was gonna work. Literally, first time I've ever attempted to do this, and really not sure how it's gonna go. Um, don't know if anybody can hear me. Don't know if my mic is working. I really, like I said, I have no idea if this software is working or if my mic is working or if my camera is working. So, if you can hear me, let me know. If you can't hear me, let me know. But I am going to work on this drawing a little bit. So I'm actually doing this on my nice watercolor paper because I may or may not want to add some color to it. I have a really basic. It's working. We can hear and see, and I can see your chats. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting! Yay! All right. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. All right. So I have a really basic sketch out here. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to render it. So I'm going to start working on it piece by piece. So when I do this, I always start with the darkest areas first. So I'm kind of going very hesitantly right now. I'm not really sure where that hesitation's coming from, but we're going to go ahead and try to work past that blank canvas syndrome. So I'm going to fill in the eyes a little bit first. And then let's go ahead and let's just start working on the eye area because I think that's always a good place to start. Okay. This is so new for me. Hi, Denny, I see you. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm just stoked that the software is working because it literally, I was going to start this like an hour ago. And then I spent forever like Googling and troubleshooting and trying to figure out if there is a way to stream to Instagram and other places from my computer so that I can use this amazing document camera that I have and show everybody what I'm working on. So cool. Okay. So when we are shading, we start with the darker areas first, and we start light because we can always make things darker, but it's a lot harder to make things lighter once we've made them dark. So right now, my light source is kind of over this direction, so this half of my face is going to have more intense shadows. We're going to have this shadow up the edge of the nose here. I can go ahead and kind of put some tone here. I'm really not sure exactly where I'm going with this drawing right now. Kind of make it up as I go along, because that's what I do. It's really a good thing that you guys can't see my face right now, because I make the most bizarre faces. I'm just really stoked that this is working at all. That's really exciting for me. I do want to kind of leave a little bit of highlight here in the eye, but not too much. And then I really want to darken up this last line. There's some lashes. Why not? Who doesn't like eyelashes? Whoa, what's up, people? What's up, party people? I'm so happy we're here. I really was. It's usually my bedtime by now. I go to bed very early. But today, I'm up and I'm working and I'm making art, which is a rare occurrence for me, surprisingly enough, considering I sort of, identify as an artist. I really should do this more often. We can do it more often. Okay. Well, that looks weird when it's just the one eye, huh? Alright. I like getting those shadows on the forehead. I just don't want to overdo it before I kind of figure out where the whole rest of my face is going to be. So I'm going to kind of actually maybe even call that good on this eye for right now, and I can always come back to it later if I feel like I need to add some more. So when we're doing noses, I always like to think about the tip of the nose, so I'll often kind of like really lightly draw in a little circle. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Can you see the circle I just drew? And the reason I do that is because it helps to remind me of the forms that I'm working with, right? So the rounded shape at the end of the nose, tip of the nose. And then the other thing I like to do is kind of think about where the bridge of my nose is going to be. So sort of define that a little bit. And then from there, it just gets really easy because now I'm just kind of shading those rounded forms. So I can shade the tip of the nose, get those nostrils in there. The nostrils are like another funky little shape that sits out on top of the face. So you have like the sort of the chin area, right, and then the nose sits on top. So the nostrils stick out. That's why we get these darker shadows underneath and on the side. The tip of the nose comes down. Did you know this little shape, this little indentation between the nose and the upper lip? Did you know it's called the fulcrum? I didn't know this until recently because I was, well, I guess preparing for my classes, teaching kids how to draw faces. So I wanted to know what it was called, and it's called the fulcrum. Now you know. The other thing that I didn't really know before, maybe I knew at one point, but I definitely had forgotten until I learned it to teach it. The white part of the eye is called the sclera, S-C-L-E-R-A. Like, okay, Becca, we really don't care about your vocabulary. Where the nostrils meet the tip of the nose and the bridge of the nose is one of my favorite parts. Because you get these really nice kind of soft, like rolling shadows. I'm working fairly lightly around the nose right now because I don't want to overdo it. If we overdo the nose, that's just not going to be pretty. It's not going to be so pretty. So let's not forget to shade along the bridge of the nose. My students watch me do demonstrations like this and they're like, you make it look so easy. I've been doing this for ever. But we're learning. Learning what? Vocab words? I love it. That's really cool. I can see the chat on here. I can see, hold on, I want to try something real quick. Bear with me. It says I can ask you questions. It's not working. It says it's loading. I don't know what it's trying to do. Well, whatever. Doesn't matter. I can ask you questions with my voice. So, what's a good question? What are you doing? What are you up to tonight? See, you can tell I'm like warmed up now. I first started and I was like, oh gosh, I don't know where to put my pencil. But now I'm kind of hopping all over the place. That's how you can tell that I'm kind of starting to get in the zone. Normally I would have music on right about now. Um, but I'm not really sure what's uh, what's allowed or what's good etiquette as far as playing music on a live stream. So I don't really want to spend another hour Googling that right now. I've wasted enough time tonight trying to be a perfectionist. So, so a lot of shading, honestly, if you want to learn a little hack, a little trick, you're just working from the outside edges, and especially when we're working with faces and people, because we're really just trying to create a sense of roundness, a sense of dimensionality, right? So when I shade from the outside in, I am creating that roundness. So the difference between the areas that are starting to be more rendered versus the areas that are just line drawing, such a huge difference, right? All right, I'm gonna work on this other eye, I think, first, and then we'll do the lips, because oh my gosh, look at those beautiful luscious lips. As an artist that does primarily figurative works, I am really, really obsessed with faces, um, with different kinds of faces. When I teach my kiddos, I talk all the time. I sound like a broken record to them, I'm sure. I talk all the time about all the ways that we are the same and all the ways that we are different. For example, we all share more or less the same facial proportions. So there's hair that's going to come like down here and kind of really like blend into the shadow on this part of the eye. That's kind of why I'm not adding a lot of detail over here. So one of the ways that we're the same is our proportions, give or take, are more or less the same. For example, our eyes are about halfway down our head. The top of her head's cut off, but it would stop right about here. So our eyes are about halfway down our head. Between the eyes and the bottom of the chin, we find the nose, almost halfway, a little bit, give or take. And then the lips between the nose and the chin. The edges of the nose kind of line up with the tear duct, the inside edge of the tear duct, or the edge of the eyeball, where the eyeball sits in the eye socket. The edges of the nostrils line up with that. Edges of the mouth line up somewhere with the center of the eye. Proportions are more like guidelines than actual rules. I need some eyebrows here. I also want to give her like some texture over here. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Gotta give some texture to those eyebrows. Alright. I like to do a little kind of highlight on the inside edge of the eye. There's a little area that kind of catches some light. So we'll put that in. And then we want to make sure we get that shadow under the eye. Helps to define the whole eye socket area. Cool, cool. What's everybody doing tonight? What are you up to? How are you feeling? How's your week going so far? I would love to know. Ooh, I kind of lost some of my eyeball there. Let's see if I can resolve that. Better. Okay. Alrighty. Shall we start working on the lips? So what was I talking about? I feel like I was talking about something before. Yeah. I never know what I'm doing. You will learn that. If I do more of these, you will learn that I never ever know what I'm doing. My students all the time in class, they're like, back on topic, Miss Becca. Okay, okay. I'm working on it. I go off on tangents because it's my brain. Late here in bed, thought I'd pop in. Cool. I'm usually in bed right now too. No joke. I have an early bedtime. I need my sleep. Sleep is so, so valuable. I put my son to bed. He goes to bed early. He goes to bed even earlier than me. He goes to bed at like 7. Uh, but we just moved him into a bunk bed, so we got him for his birthday. This year in January, we got him for his birthday this like IKEA loft bed, and it can go both ways. So when I was gonna grade essays, but this is more interesting and soothing. Oh my gosh, cool! I'm glad it's soothing. It is for me too, actually. It makes me happy. Hi, Maddie. I'm all self-conscious now because there's people I know in real life. JK. I know all of you in real life. I said I was gonna wait to do the mouth, but I just couldn't help myself. Yeah, you gotta do this little shadow under the chin. So important. People don't realize how important this little shadow under the chin is. In fact, negative space in general, really, really important when we're doing any kind of drawing because we have this sort of pattern-loving, logical part of our brain that wants to be like, yeah, these are eyes, and this is a mouth, and this is a nose, and I know what those are, and I know what they look like. And that's how we end up doing, like, can you even, hold on. This is how we end up doing, like, this is an eye, right? And, like, this is a nose, and this is a mouth. And we're not wrong. We recognize what all those things are, but see how we're kind of reducing them down to, like, patterns and symbols? Versus when we're doing observational drawing, when we're drawing realism, we're much more interested in the shapes, the values, the textures, the details, the placement, scale, and positioning of things in relation to each other. So I'm not really thinking so much about drawing mouths, drawing eyes. I'm more thinking about where are the dark areas going to be, where are the lighter areas going to be, and then how can I fill those in. I tend to work from dark to light when I'm drawing with pencil. Hot tip, never try to draw the whole tooth. It's going to look weird every time, trust me. And then again, when we're shading, it's really just working from the outside in. We're trying to create the illusion of form. So, which parts are moving away from us, moving away from the light, going into shadow, which parts are coming towards us, moving towards the light, catching that light, which parts are hiding from the light, all of the above. The lips especially are largely defined by space around them, so the negative space. It may or may not make sense. So I also like to vary the direction of my strokes. We can vary our mark making to create the illusion of texture and also create the illusion of contouring. So contouring would be if I was like, here's a circle, but I want to make it a sphere. I can do this. Draw contour lines all the way around. I can do it both ways even, like latitude and longitude. Now suddenly it is a rounded object. It has the illusion of being a rounded object. Anyway, back to it. See, I just can't help myself but teach things, I guess. But I'm also started feeling like maybe I want to shut up a little bit and just kind of draw. You guys are great. Can you hear me when I kind of mutter under my breath when I talk all quiet like this? I'm wondering how good my microphone is. Maybe one day I'll be like a cool Twitch streamer and I'll be like, oh hey Bobanopolis, thank you for the 5 subs. Is that what it is? Is that what it's like? I don't know. Literally have never done this before. Yes. Yes, you can hear me when I mumble under my breath. The other thing I wonder, and you don't have to answer this is just me thinking out loud. What does my voice sound like? I always think if I see recordings of myself 5 subs, I don't know, it's like a Twitch streaming thing, I guess, but I don't really know what it means. I just see it on my 25. I like that. I think it's windy outside because I'm hearing like weird noises outside. It's either that or, we're haunted. But we've had crazy storms here. I live in the desert. I live in stolen southern Paiute land, also known as the Las Vegas Valley, also known as... I'm aware of Twitch lingo, good. I'm all trying to explain it to you. I'm sure you know way more than I do. Turns out not everybody in the world is quite as out of touch and clueless as I am. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Again, really glad you guys can't see my face right now because I'm making weird faces. I always do. I'm pretty sure that at some point I'm going to have finished the face here. I'm going to finish the face here and then I'm not going to want to finish the rest of the drawing. But maybe I will. We'll just have to wait and see. It'll be a surprise. Working from the outside edges in. Trying to create some roundness and form to these lips here because I really want them to be very like juicy, luscious, yummy, yummy lips. My lesbian side is coming out. Don't mind me. Why not? Are you not a fan of drawing hands? I used to hate drawing hands, as a matter of fact, to the point that when I was like composing my paintings and drawings, I would like hide them. And then at some point I sort of decided that was maybe not the best strategy or the most sustainable strategy. So I spent a lot of time and practice and energy trying to teach myself how to draw hands properly. So I can draw hands. I can draw a lot of things, but drawing faces is 100% my favorite thing to draw. I just find them so interesting. I love when I draw, I'm erasing constantly. Wish I could work like this. Whoa. Yeah, I used to. I used to do a lot more erasing, and sometimes I do. It sort of depends on what I'm drawing. I do have, this is my little gum eraser, kneaded eraser. I use this. So I might kind of go in and do like if I needed to pick out this highlight here, things like that. But I also like to just kind of build up the values bit by bit. It just takes patience and practice, doing it over and over. Like I've definitely found, because I teach so much now, when I'm teaching a lot of classes on drawing faces, that I get better with practice. It's like what I tell my students, that the only way to get better is just to do it over and over. It's almost like that's actually true. Amazing. Who would have thought? So hair. I also quite like drawing hair, but it can be quite tedious at times because you can't half-ass it. Like you can't half-ass hair. You really have to kind of take the time to put in all of the values and put in all of the texture and make sure you're getting a full range of values in there so it looks good. So it looks good. But I'm kind of at that phase right now where I'm just sort of like really haphazardly hopping all over the place. I think the big thing with any kind of art is that it's just a process of decision making. So it's constantly looking at my drawing and thinking, what is it that my drawing needs right now? What is it that my picture needs, or what is it that my art needs? So if I'm painting, sometimes that becomes like a color decision. Maybe this part of my painting needs some red, this part needs some blue over here. So we're thinking compositionally. We're thinking in terms of value. So what I'm doing right now is really like a study in value shading. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking what parts need to be darker? Where can I build up my midtones so that I am representing a full range of values? I always want to push my values. My gosh, you guys are so great. We are witnessing a successor to Carapazzi over here. What a compliment. Jeez Louise, I don't think I'm that good. But I do love this. This is what makes my heart happy. See, now this is where I told you I was going to start getting bored once I finish the face. This is a lot of hair. This is a lot, and it's going to be dark. So it's going to be like a lot of dark hair that I'm putting in here. So I'm using some like tapered strokes here to just kind of define the edges. We'll soften the edges, I guess. Yeah. Maybe I can fill in this part of the neck right here. It does take time. Everything good takes time. Except ice cream. Ice cream. Actually, does ice cream take time? How is ice cream made? They have to churn it for a while, right? So maybe it does take time. I'm sure there's examples of things that are good that don't take time. But we do live in a world of instant gratification, don't we? We do. Like the marshmallow experiment. Have you heard of that? Is it marshmallows? They put the kids in a room and tell them that if they wait and they don't eat the marshmallow in front of them, then they can have two or something. I'm sure I'm telling this all wrong. It's delayed gratification. What does not take time? Water, air, earth. True. The pedantic in me is really wanting to like argue with that and refute it somehow, but I'm not gonna do that. I was raised in a family of people who know everything and are always right. Pedantic. Who knows the word pedantic? I'm doing another vocab lesson. What is the matter with me? Pedantic. It's a word that I'm very familiar with, but I find sometimes I use the word and people are like, "That's what she talking about." See all of this dark area that I need to fill in. I I have gotten quite proficient at drawing with a mechanical pencil and nothing but a mechanical pencil. The main reason being that I want my classes, my art classes that I teach, to be accessible to everybody. Meaning, not every 12-year-old has access to fancy schmancy, overpriced art supplies. So rather than requiring fancy schmancy overpriced art supplies, I figure let's make do without because we can actually do a lot with a mechanical pencil. So it's starting to come along. I want to think a little bit about where I want my highlights in the hair. Kind of trying to plan ahead a little bit here. It's not something I do often. That's not true. Actually, I'm kind of an excessive planner. I write a lot of lists. It's the only way I can make sense of my brain. Otherwise, it's natural chaos that I have learned to somewhat manage and work with. Sometimes successfully, sometimes not successfully. And I change subjects a lot. I'm going to change subjects again. It's really funny to me that I am right now impulsively doing this live stream, which I've never done before, because lists are necessary sometimes. They are. In my case, lists are necessary almost on a daily basis. Anyway, sometimes I enjoy astrology and things like it. The skeptic in me is like, maybe it doesn't mean anything, and then the other half of me is like, but maybe it does. Who the heck knows? So anyway, I like looking at astrology type things. And recently, just a couple nights ago, in fact, there was a full moon. There was a full moon in Aquarius, which is my rising sign. I don't know if that's relevant, but I thought it was interesting. And so I was kind of reading up on this full moon and what's going on with the planets and stuff, and what it was telling me, this app on my phone. I'm so embarrassed. So this app on my phone was telling me that I was going to start seeing changes, or I had the opportunity to make changes in how I show up in the world, and like visibility, things like that. So anyway, I just think it's really funny that now, after having read all that, probably because it was on my mind, I'm here all over the internet doing some drawing. Hair is fun. Actually, it's kind of meditative because you can kind of just go stroke by stroke. And you're kind of just working like segment by segment, trying to get these areas of hair. And then just gradually building up the values so that you have your darks and your lights. So remember I said I was going to put in these highlighted areas. So I'm putting those in. What's your sun sign, or what's your astrology sign? What's your sign? What's your sign, honey? Tell me if you know, or tell me if you don't know. Tell me if you think it's all a bunch of woo-woo. Or tell me if you're obsessed and you love all the things and you have all the amazing feminine witchcraft powers. I want to know, because I'm really in so many minds about it, as I am about so many things. Tell me, or don't. These are the parts that I find somewhat frustrating, is when I have something that's going behind something else. So where the hair ends and the arm crosses over in front, means I have to sort of stop my marks on this line. Which is fine. I just like having tapered marks like that because they're fun. Alrighty. I'm starting to get sick of the sound of my voice, you guys. Not gonna lie. I wish I could see who all is on here. I wonder if it shows me. I think we're down to just a couple people. This is fun. We'll do this again, huh? I'm gonna see if I can figure out a way so that you can see my silly face at the same time. Who else still with me? Anybody? I'm trying to find it here on the computer, but it's not showing me. Leave me a note if you're here. Ugh. Look at how the hair's coming along. My goodness, friends. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call this good for now. Let's come back and do it again another night.